It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The big news today in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals have released veteran wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Could not get a deal done in a trade, and he now hits the open market. College baseball, Vanderbilt dropped its first SEC tournament loss in Hoover last night against Florida. They take on Alabama tonight at 6:30. A loss would eliminate the Vandy boys. In the NBA, the Celtics stayed alive again last night, routing the Miami Heat at home. Now they will return to Miami for Game 6 tomorrow night at 7:30. Heat trying to close it out and meet the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. In the NHL, the Dallas Stars also stayed alive, avoided a sweep in the Western Conference Finals against the Vegas Golden Knights last night. Game 5 is tomorrow at 7 in Vegas, with Vegas leading 3-1, looking to close it out and meet the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Nashville Soccer Club is back home Sunday night, hosting Columbus Crew at Geodis Park. NSC on an unbeaten run of 6 games in MLS play, currently second in the Eastern Conference. Kickoff is at 7:30. Pre-game coverage starts on The Zone at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Got news in the NFL. You heard it in Lucas's update. Let's just start with this. DeAndre Hopkins is on the market. Titans fans, they want a veteran receiver. DeAndre Hopkins. We did this exercise a couple of years ago, and maybe even more longer than that. But it was like, if you could have any player to put on the team that you cover, and we ask, for the intent of people listening, on your favorite team. And I said, if it was me, I would add DeAndre Hopkins. Now, this is before, things have started to happen. He wasn't the same guy battling the same stuff that he, only played 9 games last year and 10 the year before. But that guy at the height of his game.
Oh, with the Texans, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I would put him in the category of like Chris Carter, Megatron, Calvin Johnson type. It was a guy that just had size, and there was nothing. That's what the exception was: size and hands in tracking. Like, you go, oh, okay, Molden, he wasn't tall, but guys, you just say, man, what are his exceptional traits? Well, his exceptional traits are his hands and his athletic ability to jump and high point the ball, even when he's covered. So I would say he's an exceptional. And see, for the Titans to sign a guy like that, they're going to have to overpay.
Yeah.
So I would probably say the Titans are out. Now, if he comes down on his pay and not knowing where they're going to get the money for, but just to think about, okay, where do we want to be if we do go after him? I would say it's under 10. Yeah. 10 is max. 7, 8 is really where they want to be. And I don't think there's reports out there, it really was a money deal. So I don't think he's going to go for that, not unless, he believes the Titans are a Super Bowl contending team. And I don't think he thinks that, and let alone they don't throw the ball a lot, so he won't get the numbers he needs if he does a little 1-year deal. So, but that is somewhat like what I want, a veteran player as far as years in the league, accomplishments, still a real good player. Maybe not the elite player he was, but he's still a really good player and probably got about 3 years, maybe even 4 left, just because of his length. And he was he there when Vrabel was there?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm interested to see the relationship. I don't know Hopkins. I've seen some photos of him with Derrick Henry, but he seems like I'm a number 1 guy. That means give me the ball at some point. Now, I don't know him, so I don't know if he has let's say, a T.O. mentality. Mm-hmm. Like, no, throw me the freaking ball. And that person does not mix well to me with Vrabel in this offense, because they don't run their offense like that. Only person who can do that is really the king, and he doesn't have to do that because he knows he's getting the ball.
Right, he's the one guy when he gets off the bus.
He knows
this guy's going to get it a lot. Nobody else.
So I don't know him. A lot of people say a lot of great things about him personally. To me, it's always about personality, let alone your talent. It starts with the talent first. I think he has it. I just don't think it's going to be appealing to him from a lot of different fronts, and even for the Titans. I don't see this. I hope, maybe the relationship with him and Vrabel is really good, and all of a sudden he says, you know what, I will be the number one guy on this team, and I can help groom Burks into a number one. Is he thinking like that, or does he still feel like he's the height of his career and that he should be the number one and I'll groom him and show him how it's done and help make it easier for him? So I just don't know where he's at in his career. A lot of players at this point in time, I wanted, I turned down more money because I wanted to go off the ring.
Yeah.
These players now, I don't know if they really think like that. So I don't know what his mentality is. Like, he's an accomplished player that got a great shot at, making a Hall of Fame. And the only thing he's missing is a ring, or even playing in a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that would be foremost first, but hey, man, sometimes money rules all for some of these guys, and hey, man, he's just not going to do it. He's going to go to the highest bidder. It could be, a low hanging fruit type team, guys at the bottom of the barrel. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, just imagine, like, if he went to a team like Jets. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Maybe they cut Corey Davis.
Yes, and then we get Corey Davis.
Let's keep going here. Yeah.
I don't know.
What would be the
they have
residual
not talked
thing?
Weber speculating through Mickey's vision of what's going to happen.
Boy, where could he go that they could then cut somebody who could go?
I'm just trying to think about it. Quarterback, he did a I'm an Athlete podcast, and he listed quarterbacks. Tannehill was not on there. I think it was 5 guys: the Chargers, the Bills.
You want me to tell you who it is?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
I taked a picture of it on my phone before
Who
we started.
was it?
My son would say, I take the picture. Josh Allen.
Yeah, it's Bills.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson. Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
None of those guys currently playing in Nashville.
And when I think about it, I go, okay, some of those teams can't sign him. I don't think the Eagles can sign him. I don't think they have the cap space, let alone, but you never know. They'll find a way if you really want it bad enough. They think it can help them. So
Bills are strapped.
the Bills are strapped. I saw what's my man Von Miller. We forget he's on the Bills with the emoji eyeballs. Like what? Like, oh, should you be coming over, looking over here?
What's Herbert about to get? What's Mahomes about to get? Although the Chiefs just seem to be able to do whatever they want to.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a part of me as a competitor, like I was like, oh man, can we find a way to? This is not like Julio Jones. Julio Jones was at the end, and he came off a injury plague last 2 years before he even came, and all the same, pretty much the same injury, a hamstring. DeAndre Hopkins is coming off a suspension and still having over 700 yards in 9 games. 9 games.
Yeah.
Check that. Fact check that.
No, that's true. I'm looking at it,
and I'm like, whoa. Now we have to, quantify that. He was in a more throwing style offense, but still, just imagine if he played 15, had 5 more games. That didn't even all of them. So I go, ooh, well. And then the year before that, he got injured and he missed 6 games. I think he had some form of a knee contusion or something like that, and he missed, I think, 4 or 5 games there. But that's really it. The suspension and the injury the year before that. Other than that, the guy's pretty solid because his game isn't built on I'm going to run blow by you. His game is built, I'm going to jump up and catch it.
And you mentioned his hands. They look like Mickey Mouse hands.
Oh, man, yeah. He that's the other player I forgot. I said Megatron, Chris Carter, and dang, it just hit me and then left me. Larry Fitzgerald, Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
He's in that category. And all those guys I named are Hall of Fame players. So he is on that next level, just like Julio, but Julio was at the end. He still got something. I think he at least got 1 more year of eliteness. Like, well, we got something. And I just don't know if they're going to go all in on that. I just think their style, their play, I want them to, but I'm sure they say, yeah, we want to too for $7 million. He's going to be like, that's exactly what he's going to do. Laugh. He say, oh, no, man. Just imagine if he went to the Ravens. I mean, it's just, and you start saying, we're now competing against teams that we got to take down. Do we want him on our side or do we want him on the other side? And they go, Blaine, it takes more than just that. We get what you're saying, but we have something called cap, and it starts with salary. Salary cap. I wish I was the one who had to say salary. Do what you have to do to sign him. Cap. So that's kind of how I would approach it, and I think that's what they did. And Jr. give him credit for this. He went all in, and from his viewpoint, he thought Julio Jones was that last piece to the puzzle, and he did.
Yep.
So if you believe that, I'm believing that this offensive line will be better. Tannehill's in a contract year, pretty much. The king is. You got Burks, who's hopefully can stay somewhat healthy, in better shape. Second year, he's naturally going to take off and be better than the first year. We're going to have Phillips. And, I mean, if you add a cog like that, now I think we are doing something. And, oh, by the way, we're talking about Vrabel. Lucas, your young mind, was Tim Kelly there with him too? I'm just
he was
throwing this
for
off
1
the
year.
cuff now. For 1 year.
Yeah.
With
19.
When Mills was really good. When he took the step, or was that 18 or 20?
2019 was still Magic
Watson.
Man before he got in all the trouble.
Oh.
They won 10 games.
Remember, they had a huge lead over the Chiefs in the divisional round.
Yeah, that's when they
24 to
poo-pooed the
nothing,
bed
and the
against
Chiefs came all the way back and then beat the Titans in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
And Kelly was the
Kelly was the OC
was
that
the
year.
OC.
yeah.
And Hopkins had a big year.
So there's two ties to him,
Yeah.
and to the freaking coordinators calling the plays.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, Vrabel tried to get a long time ago.
Yeah, when he started. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. See, those relationships carry weight. And then it also carries, kind of wink, they can't do it. It's a little cheaper, baby. We will take care of you. And see, I don't know if they have that kind of culture when they're talking about receivers because they run the football here.
Right.
So does that change with Kelly there and say, hey, you're not going to feel like this is just a King Henry style offense. This is the same offense we did, just with a better running back. So it's going to be easier to throw the ball. So I don't know. You can spin it how you want to. I'm always hopeful because I think the Titans are nowhere near what the national media are saying about how bad they're going to be. But I do think they're a middle-of-the-road team, which then puts them at coin toss games, depending on who's healthy, who's not, who gets hot, how the game flows and everything else. So that means you're going to be in every game. Well, Hopkins can make you better. So then where do you get the salary cap space? That's the question. Then you got to bring in, your analytic Mickey-type people to make sure
Marino.
you can make sure you can fit it in there. No, they got the new hire. Who's the new hire guy? Who's the guy they got? Lucas?
Oh, the guy from the Packers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of people. I'm sure Marino's going to be involved in that too. But they got to warn him.
Yeah.
And then, okay, for what? How much?
Well,
is he going to be happy? We know him. You know him. See, they know him personally.
They do.
And, you never really hear anything bad about him, to be honest. I haven't anyway. I could have missed some stuff.
All right, why don't we pick this up on the other side? Bam is on the line. Bam will come straight to you when we come back, 615-737-1045. That's the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. You can join the discussion. Do you want D-Hop? Here's your guy. A lot of y'all wanted to trade for him. You don't even have to trade now. You get him without any trade capital. Do you want him? Question is up on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. We put the question in the F&M Bank chat as well, and people are very much responding there. D-Hop, available. Do you want him on the Titans? That's the topic. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. So DeAndre Hopkins is on the market. We've been saying for a long time, Titans need help at wide receiver. This was a guy many of you wanted to trade for. You tweeted us. You called us. You told us that. What do you think? Bam. Buddy Bam, the drummer, will be up first. Bam, what's going on, man? What do you say? Are you already, like, on the phone to D-Hop's agent, or where are you on this?
Man, I'm trying to call everybody. Rand, Amy, Mike, I mean, all the above, man. I'm calling all the cavalry in for this one, man. Now, let me ask you this. When they were trying to put the little package together, because they were saying, I know it was, of course, season of lies, but when they were talking about getting C.J. Stroud, did D-Hop also come up in that trade as well, too?
There were all kinds of different names that came up at different times.
Exactly. I know he came up in that, but my point was this. Apparently, he's been on the radar. He's got a relationship with Mike and Vrabel. In 2019, he was in Tim Kelly's offense where they went to the divisional, well, when they lost to the Chiefs. All I'm saying is everybody keeps talking about how different the offense is supposed to be this year compared to how it's been. If Kelly knows him, Kelly knows how to utilize him. If Vrabel knows how to utilize him, and everything is just not so run-heavy this year, why not go for it? I mean, they say we already got the worst, room in here. Why not actually change that up, diversify it a little bit more? That'll make Traylon have an even better year because now you got to account for both of them. You got to account for both of them. You have to account for D-Hop. Yeah. You got to account for Traylon. You got to account for Tig. You got to account for Derek. So, I mean, the whole point is it would make he's healthy if he can stay off what he got suspended for, whatever he got suspended for. All I'm saying is it's worth the conversation. It's worth looking at to make our room better and to give us a better opportunity to be a bigger threat on offense because nobody believes in us offensively. I believe Tannehill can get him what he needs to get. I don't know, man. I just think we need to try to move on that sooner than later, for real.
No doubt.
Damn, preaching, man.
What was his stats, Hopkins, in 2019 with the Texans? That's what I was trying to wonder. And that gives a little more insight into how much, Tim Kelly really believes in him. And granted, you got different quarterbacks, but he is running that scheme and that system, and probably a mixture of some of what, Vrabel wants to do or has been doing. So it'll be a little bit of mixture. But, what is it?
He had 150 targets.
2019?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Over 1,000?
He had 104 receptions on his 150 targets, 1,165 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. He also ran 2 times for 18 yards, just if anybody wanted to know that. He averages, I looked, in his heyday, he averaged right at 160 targets per season.
What was his average per catch?
His average per catch for his career is 13 and change.
What was it that year?
It was 11.2. Like you said, he's not running past anybody.
Yeah, that's not his game.
Game.
That's why it's lasting.
Yep.
And when I'm talking to people like, oh, it's not like Julio Jones. Julio Jones' games was kind of built on speed, size, and all these other things. It was a whole bunch of things. Well, Hopkins' game, it translates. That's why I use these guys, Fitzgerald, Chris Carter. Those guys weren't burners. Those guys are super athletic and jump, had impeccable hands. Big hands, and they were like glue. They would be running full speed and catch the ball with one hand routinely. Trust me, Chris Carter got me one time on the 7 route. See how I never forgot the bad plays. I don't even remember the good plays. You tell me more about my good plays, and I can't even remember. But the bad ones are the ones that somebody got me on, I remember. And he's got that kind of juice. So, it'll be interesting. I'm sure they can. Let's try to figure out. Let's help the Titans out.
Okay.
You are a salary cap guru, and you and Lucas and crew, and see if we can find ways to make money to sign him for, let's just say, $10 million. Let's make it a lower number. Maybe we incentivize it up to 12 or 13 or something like that. But where do you go get the money from? Because some people on here are saying, cut. People
are naming people they want cut.
Cut Tannehill and go with Levis. I'm like, I don't know if that's the plan to get Hopkins.
The Titans currently have just because this would be the next question. The Titans currently have $11.1 million in cap space.
Have they signed all their rookies?
No, they signed
No.
Spears yesterday, but I
Right.
don't think they've signed the entire draft class.
Don't recall that they've.
So going to have to drop a couple millions off of that.
And on the note about, just cut Tannehill and ride with Levis, in that same soundbite that Mickey was referencing, the I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall, Hopkins said he feels like he's past the point in his career to work with a young quarterback, a rookie
Right, that's what I said. I
quarterback.
don't think he's going to sign him. Now, you can bamboozle him and wait to cut Tannehill after you sign him. Oh, this is a dirty business.
Oh, it is.
Nah, I mean, hey, man.
Only two.
I'll
only
put that
two.
past any of the 32 teams.
Only 2 picks haven't signed per spot track. Will Levis and Skoronski. So 1 and 2 haven't signed.
Oh, those are bigger numbers.
So those are the biggest 2 numbers that they're going to have.
But where else do you go get money? You still need some money.
You could restructure the king. You could give him, or you could do the buyer thing that we talked about, where you're like, hey, here's guaranteed money, but it's less per year. Lower his cap number.
And you can sell it to him because you say, we're bringing in D-Hop.
Mm.
We're bringing in Hop. We for real.
So not even a
Now we got a team.
not a restructure. Like we're going to add on. You're only under contract through next year. We're going to extend you. This is an extension, not a restructure.
Mm-hmm. And then guarantee, 2 of those years.
Yeah.
I think I would do it. If I know if it's to help bring in the D-Hop, guess what? They can bamboozle him too. And they're like,
Lord.
it didn't work out. There was some technical wording that they did not like. And we got to let you go, Lucas. I mean, kick buyer. No, I mean, so, that's just the nature of the game. That's why you got to have a good agent.
Okay, here you go.
You never commit until it's done.
The biggest cap hits on the Titans. We've been through this. They only have 4 guys now. Only 4 people on the team have a double-digit cap hit because of all the carving and cutting that they've done. Tannehill's the well-noted 36.6. Kevin Byard is his well-noted. It's 19.6 is his cap number this year. Landry is 18.8, and Derrick Henry is 16.3. After that, you drop all the way down to Danico Autry is 9 and change. Amani Hooker is just under $9 million. Then you drop all the way down to Big Jeff got the bag. His cap hit this year is 6.3.
Yeah, it's low. When you say all those names, first thing comes to mind, and it's going to sound crazy, but he's going to be on the team because he actually didn't play with that big contract he got, and that's Landry.
Yep.
So you go to him because he's going to be on this team this year and probably next year.
Yep.
And then we'll see where we're at after 3 years. So can you go to him and get some money? Where is he at?
I think what you'd have to do is, could you do the thing where you convert his salary to a signing bonus per se this year and go, here's all your money for this year, and then spread out the cap hit?
And then how much would that do? What is his number?
Boy, we need Vin Marino to call or this
okay.
other guy.
Okay. Yeah, that is because whether he's the same guy or not, he's gonna be on this team this year and next year for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, you can do that, and he's gonna collect those dollars. Guess why? That because when they give you that upfront money when he signed his contract, that really locked in probably 3 years of that contract. That's guaranteed based off of the signing bonus. With that, what he got, an $80 million contract? Something like that? Over 5 years?
His total,
Something like that.
87.5.
Because he had to beat Dupree's. That's how I remember.
87.5. Yeah, God.
Yeah, because Dupree's, I think, was like 82-ish or somewhere around
It
there.
was. Yeah.
Yep. Like, hey, man, you see us on the same field? Who better? I don't care. He came off an ACL. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Revisionist history. Now he's the guy coming off the ACL. They're going to talk about who's better.
Yep.
You or Arden Key, who only is getting 7-8.
The other thing you could do is you could sign him to a deal that's a 3-year. I'm talking about Hopkins. Once you make a move to make some money, you could sign him to a 3-year deal that was a 2-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
The old wink, wink, J-Rob deal where
Yeah.
it's easy to move out.
Dummy
after a couple-
years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So wouldn't have to be a 1-year deal. And you could sign him to a 3-year deal and ease your pain on the first year, knowing you're going to eat it next year, but they have money next year. DeAndre Hopkins, man. A lot of people wanted him.
Could the money be similar to Odell's? Is that even worth looking at? as a barometer.
Well, he got 1 year, what, 18?
15 with the up to 18. Yeah.
Oh.
Now, you could do that, and you just have to put the dummy years on it, where you know he's not going to be on the team, but you make it a 3. Like Byard's deal has dummy years on the end of it. I think Tannehill and Henry's deal both have a couple of dummy years where they're going to eat some after this year, even though their playing part of the contract is done. There's some salary on like 2 more years. So, and I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't want to speak out of turn on any of it. But
well, y'all talking about dummy years. That's how I feel like when y'all talking about this cap. Yeah, I'm the dummy trying to explain. No,
I'll just
find
say
a way. Here's what I always used to believe as a player and still today. Yeah, if you want them bad enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. That's how I feel. Just like they went to Bayard to make a pay cut. I mean, take a pay cut. Like, okay, well, why? Where is this money going? What are we doing? Or if we trying to win, okay, I'm all in. We're gonna bring in a better player, an elite, proven player. If you talking about pay cut and I made all pro, oh no. Oh, well, we have too much money allotted to the safety position. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Mm-hmm. And they go, that's why we came to you.
So just if people wonder, because he averaged in his heyday before he missed parts of the last 2 years and take out his rookie year, D-Hop averaged right at 160 targets. So just in case somebody's driving and they're listening and they think, gosh, we had AJ and he was great. I bet he got 105 and 106 targets in his best years here.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not comparable.
Different deal.
Different offense. You're not going to get the numbers because they're not going to throw as much.
Yep.
And you don't have that elite level franchise type quarterback like that where you're riding everything on your quarterback. Here we ride everything on the king. So it's just different. So for him to think that if he gets 80 balls, if Burks makes the step he's supposed to make, 80 balls is probably about where he's going to be. Different offense. I mean, yeah. How many catches did Corey Davis have playing opposite A.J. Brown? His last year where he almost got 1,000 yards.
I get my crack
research there. We got him.
Research team.
And that's kind of Corey in 2020 had 65 catches on 92 targets for 984 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And so I would say, yeah, okay, he probably have 90 catches because he's a better catcher. Mm-hmm. Better player. So you have to have that number 2 guy, and that's why I keep emphasizing this. You have to have the number 2 guy that is an actual threat, not just a good player. Like, guess what? Here's what I'm going to show you now. Add D-Hop to this lineup on offense, a receiver, and then start going down the list of the receivers. Then you go, they looking kind of dangerous. Because now everybody will be slotted where they need to be. NWI would be quasi 3, 4, and then would be elite at that spot. Whether he's interchanging with Kyle Phillips.
Yep.
Remember, I told you, I don't like that slot stuff. Everybody plays slot, outside, inside, it all around. It doesn't matter. Kyle Phillips was playing outside too. So I think then everybody would, I think that would be, that's the type of player. Now, this one is better than I expected if we went that route. He's a Hall of Fame player. I was thinking just a really good, solid starting. You say, yeah, definitely, he's going to be producing. So this is, you get a lot here. I'm sure they're having these debates that we're having here on air and even with the fan base and Lucas and guys and Joseph. So, yeah, all these things that we're talking about, they're talking about. How can we fit it and make it happen? And who can we go to? Is it worth it? Mm-hmm. What is their real plan with the quarterback? Mm-hmm.
Ding, ding, ding.
And guess what? That's why I said I don't know him personally.
Yep.
But guess what? If things go south and then we have to put the quarterback, the backup quarterback in, a young quarterback, is he going to be happy or will he get disgruntled? And then they'll have proof because I think he didn't ever play with Mills, though. It was Watson. The whole
no, because Bill O'Brien traded him for David Johnson and a ham sandwich with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, like some half-drink bottles of Gatorade. Yes. Sandwich. That was when Bill O'Brien just lost his mind.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
he went rogue.
Speaking of rogue,
Saban rehab
explain
program.
this to me Why did the Arizona Cardinals not wait till June 1st to release DeAndre Hopkins?
They already have 2 designations, J.J. Watt and somebody else. They had 2. You can only have 2
Right.
post-June.
Because that's the former, assistant GM here.
Monty Austin for it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I was, okay. So okay. I was going to say, well, dang, why did they do that?
They ate a lot of money.
Boy, they did.
They ate tons of money.
That would have been a fireable offense if he.
He just got there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just like, whoa, I know something. I must not know something. That's why I knew y'all knew the answer.
I need to
like,
find it. It was
whoa.
Rap Sheet or one of those guys, Lucas, if we can find it.
How much money did he eat on this deal? By cutting him before June 1st and not being a designated.
22.6
it was
million.
over 22.
And so if he would have waited, if he could have designated him, what would he have saved? Like the entire thing, right? Or
Let me check.
Yeah, a Rap Sheet said this is not a post-June 1 designation. Arizona takes the entire 22.6 dead cap hit this year. I got to find it. It was Pelissero or one of those guys. Maybe it was it's Schefter, who I don't follow. He named the 2 people that the Cardinals.
oh, he did.
You can only do 2 deals like that a year where you say, all right, we're going to release Lucas and Joseph, and they're both June 1 designations. But Blaine and Mickey, we're going to cut you guys today.
Okay. Who have the Titans designated already, or have they? June 1st. I could have. Is somebody already?
Is it Ben Jones? Was
Do
he
we
a
know this
post
answer?
June 1?
See, we were talking about Arizona. Let's go back and see what the Titans designations were. And do they still have that in their back pocket to help them with another, dare I say, big cut?
Oh, here you go.
You're whispering.
No, Joel Corey.
Oh.
The Cardinals couldn't have used a post-June 1 designation on DeAndre Hopkins if they wanted to. Teams get up to 2 post-June 1 designations a year. They used theirs on J.J. Watt and Rodney Hudson. I don't know who Rodney Hudson was, but I doubt that was a $22.6 million haircut that they're taking on him.
All right. So that's because of D-Hop got cut. Does he have the Titans designations?
I don't know if the Titans have made a post June 1st.
I don't know if they've made anybody that designation. Honestly, maybe they. Let me look.
Not that I've seen.
Me neither.
Right. Yeah. So they have.
Meaning they could do it. What you're saying?
Right, row. Mm-hmm.
They did Julio Jones last year. Here's people talking about it.
Right, last year. We're
Nothing
talking about this
them.
year.
There's nothing about it. I'm Twitter searching this
Nothing.
year. Nothing. So the Titans have at least one, if not 2 of those in their pocket. And people are going, what's the deal? Why do you keep talking about that? If you release somebody after June 1st, or if you tell them when the season's over, hey, Lucas, we're going to release you. I know it's January 8th, but we're just going to go ahead and tell you we're releasing you after the season. We're going to make you a June 1 cut. It divides the cap hit into the immediate year and the next year. So let's say it was
Instead of all of it this year.
Yeah. So the Hopkins thing, it would have cut it.
Okay.
It's usually a little bit more the first. It leans a little bit heavier one way versus the other. But just the easiest way to say it is, if they could have made him a post June 1, it basically would have been 11 one year and 11 the next. Although it would maybe have been 9 and 12 or something like that. But it basically splits it in half over 2 years.
Okay.
So it gives you 2 years to eat it.
So who's playing safety for the Titans at OTAs right now? Hooker and who?
Well, one of the guys is.
I just said starting. My bad. We know, is Elijah Moden the starter right now, or is he in backup mode?
He's getting the work.
Well, I know he's getting to work, but is it as a 1 or a 2? This is back in the day tricks to try to force you to come to camp because Elijah Moden's a good player. We moved him to safety, and he can potentially be there as a starter. I just don't know who's in the rotation. Being that I haven't been at practice.
The listed safeties for the Titans are Mike Brown,
Mike Brown played with me. Yeah, he went to Nebraska.
Now,
he played for the Bears, man. He was a real good player.
I do remember that Mike Brown. Mike Brown, Kevin Byard, Shaheem Carter, Amani Hooker, Tyreek Jones, Otis Reese, and Josh Thompson.
I don't know. Those are just the safeties?
That's all the safeties they got listed, yeah.
Who was the guy that tore his ACL at the end? There, he's probably still over there rehabbing. They didn't cut him, did they? Remember, he started some games. I want to say he came from the Giants. Yeah, he tore his ACL at the end of the year. You don't remember who?
Was it Andrew Adams?
Yes, yeah, him.
Yeah, he played some good football for that.
Yeah, he did. Really good. Tore his ACL at the end there. He was starting.
I think he's a free agent. I think
He's
he
a
was
free
only
agent,
like one of those guys
1 year
who
guy.
came in and just played the rest of the year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Had that pick six on Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
He played some important plays for the Titans
he
last
made
year.
some plays. I hate that he tore his ACL because now, I mean, man, he could have been a good little starter for 3 years for a good modest contract from a point of view for the Titans or anywhere. His career is probably over. I mean, not because of the ACL, it's just because he's probably in year 6 or 7, and man, he's got to come back from an ACL. Oh man.
Oh, here's your boy, Mickey Ryan, with an interview with him on Twitter, catching up with Andrew Adams after a huge game. He had 10 tackles and a pick 6 for the Titans.
Yeah, solid,
that dude,
solid
he made
player.
some plays.
And he had experience, yeah. He started some games for the Giants, and
They signed him off the Steelers practice squad on 9/21 of last year. He had 35 career starts coming in.
Yeah. And he had experience.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. So that was so Molden sounds like the highest named guy besides Hooker that we know, right?
Yeah, it's just him and a bunch of like guys, just like special teamish type guys. Yeah.
Sound like you need Byard around here. They voted to be okay, but that's a tough one there.
Somebody in the chat is asking about Josh Kalu and where he is now.
Right, I know he was finished the season on the roster, but he's not there. Where's Chris Jackson? Where are these? I know he's a nickel corner, but should they even use him? I mean, they moved him all over the place too.
Josh Kalu's a free agent. All right, we're behind. We need to take a break. We'll come back, finish up this hour. We'll finish up this discussion. We'll head into hour number 2. Buck Reising will join us for his Friday visit coming up. Also, call your shot. Maybe you want to sneak in a called shot about Hopkins. Do they sign him? We'll call all of our shots at the end of the show, but you can get one in the F&M Bank chat right now. Be back to wrap up this hour next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Friday. Kick it. That's what the Beastie Boys said. You ready to kick it around for your right
to party?
Thought you were going to say fight for your right to sign DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, I was about to, but I wanted to keep the mojo going.
Down. You asked Vrabel to sign him, and he says no. I don't know. Maybe he'll say yes.
They're not doing pressures today? Vrabel, can you sign? He's a free agent. He can't say he's with a team. How well do you know DeAndre Hopkins? Are you guys going to pursue him?
Are we having a press conference now,
Yeah,
you
I'm
and me?
practicing my questions and my counter questions, and I'm assuming what he's going to say. Well, we look into all the receivers that are available, Blaine.
Hey, Blaine, remember I told you when I spoke that there's going to be a bunch of guys on the market. Remember, Blaine?
I know. Well, I know he does. He is tall, so that's a lot of people on top of each other.
He said,
this is the only one I've seen so far.
We're going to evaluate everybody. It's going to be a bunch of players cut.
I was like, man, you messing with us, man. You better quit messing with us.
He said they're going to get cut on Monday. Remember, you came in that day. You're like, a bunch of people get cut today.
Boy, he had me believing it.
It was like
maybe
one
something
guy.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know all the stuff. I was like, what Vrabel said.
One guy in the whole league got cut that day. Remember, like the transaction where I had one guy. It was like a backup guard.
I think it was like 5
on
people.
the Vikings or something.
It might be
got
on
cut
one
that
wide
day.
receiver. But
You
I
were
was
like, man, is there like 17? What does he know that we don't know?
I thought it was I fell for the okie doke, man. He got me. I was like, oh, we good. Vrabes said. Mm-hmm. Vrabes lied.
Here's his guy, though.
Lie,
Here's his guy who he knows.
He said on Monday. He gave a date. If he would have just said, yeah, it'll be through the process till, training camp.
No, he said Monday. There's going to be a bunch of dudes that get cut.
Did he say that? Didn't he say that, Lucas? Or we interpreted it wrong?
Say it again.
What Vrabel said.
After the draft, he was like, well, a bunch of receivers are going to get cut on Monday.
I can find it.
Or
Hang
he
on.
said a bunch of guys are going to be
You
available.
don't remember this?
I know. It was about Monday, but I'll just find the audio. We'll hear it from
you're
the man
not
himself.
co-signing on it. No, you refuse to say.
No. He said because basically the question was like, well, now that free agency is over, it's like, well, no, free agency is not over. Like this group is good enough until Monday.
He didn't say teal.
Let me find the audio.
Oh,
He's
see, that's
searching
why
for-
you're saying it like that. See, because you're giving him the pass. Yep, you become part of the puppet media.
Too much time around Buck. Becoming more and more of a mouthpiece every day.
Oh, my gosh. This is just a takedown of Buck, man.
We were
He's
joking
just
around
walking
and
right
you
now.
went personal, man.
Buck in his two-tone blue bed sheets.
He's like Harris after the crack about Joe Boo, where the bat just hits him out of nowhere. That's Buck walking down the streets of North Nashville right
interpreted it
now.
wrong, man.
I got the audio right here.
All right,
Okay,
play it.
here we go.
Let me see if I was wrong.
Going into Monday, it will be, yeah. And we're going to continue to explore and find ways to improve our roster and make it as competitive as possible. So on Monday, it will be. We felt good if, for us to add a receiver, we would have come far off our board at those certain levels, and that's what I'm happy about. You guys are going to trust us. We're gonna put players in here that are going to help us win.
That last part kind of goes back to the previous question. You're going to find ways to improve your roster. Free agency's over and the draft's over. Aren't those the places
No,
to
free
improve your roster?
agency's not. They're going to let us sign free agents Monday. They will. Chad will. Rand will. They'll let us sign free agents on Monday. Free agency is going to go all the way up until the season starts. There'll be players that are on other teams that will become available Monday. Take a look. It'll be real large waiver wire. We'll scour that. We'll continue to look for trade possibilities and opportunities. Chad and Vin will help us with the salary cap, find ways to open up salaries so that we can potentially sign other players. There's been a pretty good process here, and I'm excited about it.
Monday.
He did give more than I ever thought, though. He did say through this process of the summer, he kind of, but he definitely kept saying on Monday, like things about to happen on Monday. Yeah, going up to Monday. So I gave him a little bit of pass there, but he kept saying Monday.
Active waiver wire on Monday. I swear it was like one guy. It was like a backup long snapper that the Vikings
it was like
cut.
5 or 6 guys. I think only one was like a wide
What's the
receiver.
over-under on how many? We can go back and look at the transaction wire. Let's find it.
But he did say all the way up through training. He
did say
eventually
that.
said that. He eventually said that.
All right. Lucas tells us we got to run. We'll study the transaction wire. How many people got cut the Monday after the draft? We'll find out that and more. Hour number 2 coming up. Buck Reising, noted mouthpiece, as Lucas called him, Buck Reising, in hour number 2.
It is 2:01. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The news of the day in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals have released wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Could not get a trade deal done for him. The Cardinals have to eat over $22 million in dead money, but Hopkins is officially on the open market. College baseball, Vanderbilt, after falling against Florida last night at the SEC tournament in Hoover, takes on Alabama tonight at 6:30. A loss would eliminate the Vandy boys. In the NBA, the Celtics are still alive in the Eastern Conference Finals, now trailing 3-2. They are back in Miami tomorrow night, Game 6 at 7:30. Heat trying to close it out and meet the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. And in the NHL, the Dallas Stars are still alive. They avoided the sweep, winning in overtime last night, now trailing the Vegas Golden Knights 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Game 5 tomorrow at 7 in Vegas. Golden Knights looking to close it out to meet the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Nashville Soccer Club back home on Sunday night. They host Columbus Crew at Geodis Park. The boys in gold currently on a 6-game unbeaten run in second place in the Eastern Conference. Kickoff is at 7:30. Pre-game coverage starts right here on The Zone at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone, hour 2 of the program. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. It's a 3-day weekend preceding Friday, so this is like the Magic Dust Friday. This is like the Monday after the draft level excitement.
Oh, this is just
when
like
all
when
the
Vrabel
players
said on Monday. Well, Monday we off, so I'm like pumped up and jacked up. I got extra time. Ooh, man, free time.
So we were having a little fun. We played the audio at the end of last segment because Blaine came in the Monday after the draft, and we were talking about, you know, they didn't draft a receiver, and they did in the seventh round.
Did.
In the seventh round, Colton Dow. They drafted a receiver in the 7th round, and
He good, man.
talking about how the draft went. Now they got to find somebody else. And Mike Vrabel and the draft wrap press conference had essentially said, well, you know, there's going to be guys available, and we can still sign free agents. You know, Monday on start this, somebody asked him. I think the question that led to the whole exchange was, is this wide receiver group good enough? He said it's good enough for Monday. But now on Monday, there's going to be guys cut and the waiver wire, and we can sign free agents all the way up until the season starts. And he mentioned Monday several times. So Blaine, we're talking about this, and Blaine's like, man, it's Monday. Like, let's go. Let's see. Let's go. He said it's happening Monday. Mm-hmm. So I said, I think it was like one dude who got cut. You said 5. It was 4. On Monday after the draft, which is Monday, May 1st, these 4 individuals were waived from NFL teams. James Murray, who's a center, waived by the Jags. Jalen Elliott, a safety, waived by the Raiders. Tyree Gillespie, a safety, I've heard of him, waived by the Jags. And Sebastian Gutierrez, an offensive tackle, was waived by the Raiders. That's who all got waived on Monday. That's it. That's the whole. That's
Well, we listened to the whole sound, but he did say over the course of the rest of the offseason.
right up until the season starts. But you really were like, dang, man, that Monday is going to be lit.
I was like, oh, man, it's going to be some cuts. Because that's the way he presented it.
Like he knew something.
Like there was going to be some cuts.
Hey, man.
Like a lot. Like 5 on each team.
You mean you think this
There's
holiday?
5 on each team, and whether it's going to be a receiver or not, that's a lot of people.
You think it's been a rough year, man? Christmas morning's coming. You just wait to see what's under the tree, because Christmas morning.
Oh,
that's when the stuff goes under the right. Christmas morning. Yeah. You woke up and it was just like a lump of coal.
It was nothing.
In your sock.
It was nothing but the milk drippings and crumbs from the cookies that he left there from Sam.
Sebastian the Gutierrez. James Bill Murray.
Oh man, he got me. I got. I do not like getting got. You got me, Braves. You had me believing. That's it.
So here's the question. We asked this question on Blaine and Mickey, by the way. Follow us there at Blaine and Mickey. It's real simple. It's our names, and you can just go to Twitter and follow us there. We'll just blow your mind with stuff. And so we asked you, do you want the Titans to sign DeAndre Hopkins? 68% say yes right now. 32% say no. That's as of right now. And you know what?
Somebody said, don't sign another old
A receiver. So these 32% of these 32% of people, it's probably like 2% of guys or gals who are like, And I don't know about the cap situation. It's 30% who are like, I don't want another Julio. I don't want another Randy Moss. I don't want another. You were naming them all in the commercial.
Eric Molds, Pickens.
Eric, Brett, Molds, Pickens. I don't want another one of those guys.
Yeah, we had some bad luck there.
And then Anthony says, this is in response to that, for a low amount, 1-year deal, sure. I don't, Andy Music on Twitter, if it's not too much money, let there be some big bonuses for stats and how much he's actually on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that, and then you have Jameson in the F&M bank chat. He said, if D-Hop is on this offense, you got to think Derrick Henry is going to light it up. This is exciting to think about. Just hard to see why he'd want to come here.
Right. Yeah. That's
He played for Tim Kelly. He was his OC for a year, and they won 10 games. And as Lucas pointed out, laid the biggest pterodactyl egg in the history against the Chiefs in the playoffs, or would have gone to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, but all I care about was his numbers.
And his numbers,
their success. I don't care about what he did with Tim Kelly and his offense.
Had 150 targets and 104 catches,
1,100 some yards and 7 TDs.
1165, if my memory serves me right, or the numbers he put up with Tim Kelly as the OC. And then Mike Vrabel was also there with him when Mike Vrabel was there. Yeah, before that.
So is this worth it, man? I don't know. What is the number you think for Hoppy?
Before you do that, Mick, can I bring up this quote from DeAndre Hopkins from when Vrabel was hired in 2018?
About the Titans?
Yes. Jim Wyatt article. Texans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins praises Titans coach Mike Vrabel. February 9th, 2018. Here's the quote from Hop. Quote, I had a lot of interaction with him. He's one of those guys you could talk to off the field, not just about football, but personal stuff. Vrabel was good to me. It wasn't just a football relationship with him. It was a personal relationship. Guys could relate to him. He's a great guy. He's not just a good coach, but he's a good guy. He can relate to his players. The Titans are lucky to have him. Just throwing that out there.
I am not going to get bamboozled again. You're making me feel like, this is a possibility.
Oh, wait, it continues. I think that was the best decision for the Titans organization, Hopkins said. He's a winner. He knows how to win championships, man. He has been part of an organization that has done it time and time again. With us, he did a great job. Last year, we had a lot of injuries, but guys still fought and played for him. I definitely think he's going to be a great head coach. I'm excited for him and happy for him and his family. This is 5 years ago.
All right, Lucas, I'm sending this to you. I just emailed it to you.
Meanwhile, we're watching DeAndre Hopkins highlights in Cardinals uniform.
Uh-huh. I emailed you a soundbite. This is from A to Z Sports. It's Vrabel evaluates DeAndre Hopkins. This is from 2019. Can you get that sound? I'm just curious to hear what he said. I don't know what he said. I don't remember. Blaine brought this up in hour number 1 for people who are like, well, I mean, he only played 9 games last year. He had more of everything in 9 games than any Titans receiver had last year. He had more stats. Robert Woods was the leading Titans receiver. He was 53 for 527 is what he was.
Dang.
He's 53 for 527. Now I'll have to pull up. Let me get Hopkins. But he was 700 yards, I know.
Ooh.
So he had more stuff in 9 games.
See, the problem is what
he was
Lucas
64
says.
for 717 last year in 9 games.
Yeah, the Lucas comparison is what's destroying us, and that is the OBJ signing.
What was
Hopkins
the
is
OBJ amount?
15 up to 18.
Okay, he
1
ain't
year.
going to sign for a penny less than that. Matter of
Right.
fact, he's like, I got my ACLs. Well, I mean,
And the Titans going to be like, we ain't even come close to that number. Half of that? What do I look like? And I'm better than him. He was coming off of 2 ACLs in a row.
Dude hadn't played in 2 years.
That's why you got to make it a multi-year deal. The 3 that it could be a 2. Because if not, the Titans don't have that much money in their bank account.
It's got to be
They're
at
like
least
Clark Griswold
15.
writing a down payment for the pool before the Christmas bonus and winding up with the Jelly of the Month
They
Club
are not
subscription.
giving him $15 million. Bro.
Yeah, that's not happening. But just for kicks and giggles, just from A to Z Sports from 2019, ahead of a game against the Texans, I have no idea what he's going to say, but Mike Vrabel on DeAndre Hopkins.
Probably really high, probably at the top of the list. But it's not just a wrestling match. There's a lot of skill involved. I mean, he does a great job with his hands, putting them on defenders' arms and catching a wrist. I mean, he's almost like a pass rusher in that regard. We try to watch him and see him time up with people when they're trying to jam him and put their hands on him. So I would say that his play strength is very good to be able to fight through contact, not only during the route, but also when the ball gets there, and then probably at the top of the list as far as body control on the sidelines.
Mike Vrabel going through his attributes. And again, I want to say this, Blaine pointed it out earlier. He's never been built on speed. All the things that Mike Vrabel just said about him in 2019 could still be true in 2023. He never said, oh my gosh, he just blazes past me. No, body control, holds people's arms like a pass rusher, uses leverage, uses the sidelines. That works. That never doesn't work if that's what you do.
Uses his length and his big Mickey Mouse hands.
You want to know what happened in that game?
What happened in that game?
What DeAndre Hopkins did to the Titans?
6 catches on 8 targets, 119 yards.
Yeah. Well, death and taxes.
That's
and
about
him
how many
whipping
targets
your
he's going to
butt.
get here if he come here.
Texans 24, Titans 21.
Yeah,
See, they knew
they
it was
gonna count
coming.
here though. $17 million for D. Oh man, come on, we just dreaming here, people. What is this guy talking about? I'm holding Mickey's guitar.
Oh, the picture on the Twitter chat.
Oh.
Picture on Twitter, a header. We're both shredding on guitars. He's talking about that.
Oh, I am.
mean, Blaine toured.
I am holding your guitar.
He doesn't know that you actually toured with Earth, Wind, and Fire for 2 tours playing rhythm guitar. The Hitman. The hits are on the charts, too.
Does Blaine have a doppelganger on Earth, Wind, and Fire? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying. That's why Blaine is holding the guitar in that picture. He shreds on guitar.
Oh man,
All the guitars in the hit song September. Do you remember? That's Blaine just shredding in the background on guitar.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and I'll be sure.
He just wants to be close to you on the radio. Wasn't that I'll be sure?
Oh man.
We want to be close to Buck Reising, and he's going to join us next. His Friday visit. We can ask him about DeAndre Hopkins. We'll just lead with that question. Does he want the Titans to go after DeAndre? We'll ask him that and a bunch of other stuff.
I want to
next.
know his favorite song. What we listening to? Oh,
The Hitman, Blaine Bishop, playing rhythm guitar for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
yeah.
That's why he's holding a guitar in that Twitter picture of
Yeah, I
us.
think that was
shreds.
I was listening to this song in my mom's belly too.
Hey, it's not
It's just
September.
ingrained in my brain, man. I don't even know how I know the song, man.
Oh, yeah, everybody grew up knowing this one. Even Buck Reising, who joins us now. Buck, it's
No,
not
he did
September. It's June, but DeAndre Hopkins, or it's May still. DeAndre Hopkins is cut loose. So are you ready to step up and Varthon, which is the combination of Vrabel and Carthon? Do you think Varthon is ready to just step up and pay the man to bring in that veteran presence everybody's been looking for?
What kind of Power Ranger bad guy is Varthon? That sounds great. Who came up with that?
Yours truly.
Yeah, Mickey, the mixter, the mix master,
That
the
sounds
musician.
about right.
Varthon.
The artiste among us. I would say that certainly they are going to explore it. Whether they actually pull the trigger on a deal, I imagine that depends on what the marketplace looks like. I'm fascinated to see who else gets reported with legitimate interest in Hopkins, beyond just the teams that he's interested in playing for, right? Because I think those might well be two very different conversations. New England and Buffalo, different circumstances, obviously, right now. But like the idea of New England being interested in DeAndre Hopkins, of course, it's like the Titans being interested in DeAndre Hopkins. Look at their wide receiver room. It's almost as bad. Juju's just been in the league for a little longer. But the idea of DeAndre Hopkins at the end of his career going to New England to play for a bad football team or a middling football team, that does not necessarily appeal. So what is the market? How much more are the Titans going to have to pay than a team that is considered a contender for somebody like this, where they can offer him a better and more viable, potentially playoff situation, whereas here he's going to be looked at as the thing that may tip them in favor of playoff contention. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a 30-plus-year-old wide receiver at this point. But I know for a fact that they will explore the viability of it.
Where would you go about getting some money, let's say, if you were the Titans and you've got $11.1 million roughly in cap space and 2 more draft picks to sign? Where would you go about, like, walking around the locker room and having a talk with somebody?
Probably Derek, right? Like Tannehill, at this point, you seem to already have kind of your ducks in a row for his succession plan. Doesn't necessarily make sense to extend him, given the logjam that you already have at quarterback, to bring down that number. I would say that the idea of if Derrick Henry would be comfortable with a 1-year extension, potentially more than 1 year with voidable years attached, depending on how you can make the money work. There's all kinds of different salary cap gymnastics that Vin Marino and his counterparts around the league are capable of. So I would think Derek makes the most sense out of the 3 kind of primary candidates for that, with Kevin Byard and Ryan Tannehill being the other 2.
Buck Reising on with us now. Buck Reising Show and the install and A to Z Sports. He is brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople.
Well, Buck, I haven't been out to the practices. Naturally, we're on air, so you've been out there a few times. What have you noticed, if anything, that you've noticed about the offense and the passing game?
I think that Tajay Spears is going to be a bigger factor in the passing game than I might have initially given credit for.
So he's going to be like their Hilliard?
Initially I didn't think so, Blaine, because I wasn't quite as familiar with him in terms of like how many different routes he's capable of running. Because I think the thing that set Dontrell Hilliard apart was not just that he's a viable receiving option, but that you can run legit routes with that guy, that he understands spacing and landmarks on the field and things like that to be able to execute some of the passing concepts that they were running with him. So maybe not necessarily quite that, but I think he's got potential for that. And potential is a word that kind of drives me crazy with this team, because that's all they seem to have instead of actual, quantifiable talent. But perhaps this will be one of the things that shows through. The offensive line situation, they continue to work Skoronski inside. It's kind of the way I think most of us projected it might look in the early going. And of course, this is without pads. But you have Andre Dillard, Peter Skoronski, Aaron Brewer, Daniel Brunskill, and then NPF, and until such time as that's proven to not be a viable offensive line group. That is the way that I think most people are going to look at this. And then, with Malik Willis, seeing him working with the twos this week and, little things, just how much more comfortable he seems to be going through the drills that he's being asked to do an individual period, how much cleaner his footwork looks, less frenetic, just subtle things that are good that he has been able to improve upon. I know Mike Vrabel said he challenged him this offseason to be in more command or to have more of a presence about him in a way that, a starting quarterback or a backup quarterback, if he's coming in for a starter, will have to do. And I don't necessarily think that's been a knock against Malik, but that's certainly something that Mike Vrabel was comfortable telling us that he challenged him on this offseason. And, beyond that, just happy to be back out there and watching these guys on the field again. It's going to be really interesting how Tim Kelly tries to put all those things together on that side of the ball.
It's, we've talked a lot about guys who aren't there, and actually, to me, we should be talking about the guys who are there. But it just seems like to me, like the players that aren't there, it's just kind of like they're in a tough situation, missing OTAs, which is actually voluntary. What is your viewpoint on veteran players missing voluntary OTAs?
Well, I'm never going to tell a vet that he has to show up for the voluntary stuff, right? I mean, that you tell me how your body feels, and then we'll decide how important it is for you to be at OTAs at that time of year. Now, I will say that those, that's not applicable to everybody, right? There's Kevin Byard, who is in a unique situation, who I think is well within his rights to not be out there, even though, he put out yesterday with Logan Ryan doing workouts together. Logan Ryan's in Nashville this week, so he's around. He's doing things. He's commuting. Vrabel told us that he was still on the Zoom calls with Scott Booker, their safeties coach, so he's still a participant, even if he's not on the field right now. Christian Fulton, who is working out in South Florida with, I believe the trainer's name is David Andrews, who he is has a track record of improving durability, basically, with professional athletes. LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are two of the biggest examples that are cited among guys who have been working out with this particular trainer to improve durability, and that was obviously something that Mike Vrabel brought up. But I do think Christian Fulton in a contract year would benefit more from being there than not being there at this stage, because while he is, I think, viewed as this team's top corner, he still has a lot to prove to us, to the team, to his coaching staff, and to the executives who are going to be making these decisions on him, that he does belong here as the top corner. There's still, I think, a decent amount of question around that right now.
Well, that's kind of interesting because he's done it their way the last 2 years, and it didn't work. And so now he went to, go do it on his own. So to me, I thought this was a good choice on his part, at least fundamentally sound. And what he's trying to say is, hey, this is my contract year. I got to try something else because what I did with the Titans has not worked. But that's neither here nor there. I guess.
Just quickly, Blaine, before we move on to another subject, I did think it was interesting, the difference in answer, and Lucas pointed this out to me when we ran the press conference the other day, although I heard he was calling me a mouthpiece earlier, so I'll deal with him in a minute. Yeah. I did think it was interesting that when Mike Vrabel was asked about Kevin Byard not being there, he's like, oh, yeah, I saw KB on the golf course. We had a great conversation. He looks great, on and on.
He said he missed before, too, right? He did say he missed before.
Right.
Do you recall that?
Before. This is not something. Okay. Well, not specifically. I would have to go back and look through my notes, but like Derrick Henry is not typically here at this time of year, and Derrick's out there this time around. So I think those things are pretty fluid from season to season. Right. I did think it was interesting that he gave this very expansive answer about how much he's been in contact and it's been in touch with KB and all these glowing things about KB, and then he was asked about Christian Fulton being there and just said, nope. Maybe I'm making more of that than need be, but it definitely struck me a certain type of way, given how we know that Mike Vrabel occasionally likes to message these things.
Well, I mean, he did mention his name after the season as though he wasn't dependable with all his injuries, whether they were soft tissue or whatever they may have been. Which, as a former player, I don't think you ever should isolate and bring up people's name if not ask about them directly. And I don't think he was. He gave a laundry list of players. So I thought that was a misstep because maybe if you didn't do that, maybe he would be there because he felt like he shouldn't have been called out. Who likes to be called out?
Well, I mean, we know how David Long felt about it, right? He
Right,
was very
exactly.
transparent about those things with the Miami media.
You know why? Because you're messing with those guys' money. That's why.
Sure.
Yeah. That's you definitely can't do it in someone's contract year. And I think Vrabel, of all coaches, should know that being a former player. We went with Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show.
So, Buck, we saw a kicker get cut, and Brandon McManus got cut by the Broncos, and the Jaguars immediately cut their kicker, who kicked for them last year, who was like good from short range, but if the misses that he had were mostly from 40 plus. I think he missed 4 of 16 from 40 plus. They didn't even hesitate. Should the Titans have tried to beat them to the phone call to that guy? Are the Titans going to bring in a veteran kicker?
Based on the way that they've handled kicker.
They'll wait till they fail, then they'll do that.
Right? Like, it just kind of seems like, okay, we'll use this one until it doesn't work anymore, and then we'll throw that one away and get another one. Like, that's basically been the MO here. Now, I did think, and I brought this up on my show earlier this week, that Vrabel had spent more time talking about the operation of the field goal kicking unit than I can remember in the last 5 years, because they've got 2 young, inexperienced kickers on the roster, and Trey Wolf, the undrafted guy that they added this year, and Caleb Shudak from last season, who was not available to them once they got underway. But I did think it was interesting how much time Vrabel spent talking about the operations of it now that he's working with no more veteran kickers, no more veteran punters as far as holding is concerned. He's got new parts and pieces all over the place, and he has to be more I think, sensitive to the needs of the specialists than he has in years past. Now, whether that impacts, make kicks or we'll get rid of you as a philosophy, I don't know. But it does seem that a team with the financial limitations that the Titans have would probably prefer to err on the side of the undrafted free agent option than to go out and bring in a veteran with a higher price tag.
No, they're definitely doing that right now. Tim Kelly, we'd all heard about playing faster. We heard from the coordinators earlier this week, and when Tim Kelly got asked about playing faster, he said, I want guys to play faster. I want guys to come to the line of scrimmage and not be thinking about things. I want them to play faster. So is that our answer, is not playing faster speed-wise, but maybe shortening terminology, making things simpler, giving guys less to think about so they can play faster while playing at the same speed they've played in the past when they weren't that fast?
Well, I don't know if you guys carried Chig's comments the other day with him talking about simplifying the play calling language.
Yeah.
As a means of kind of trying to distill things down. And I think that makes sense for a younger team. They've got a lot of new pieces and parts. They've got a lot of young talent, both on the offensive line and skill position group. And if, they felt like they were getting ahead of their skis or overthinking things as they walk to the line and trying to figure out whether the word that they just used was the protection or the route concept that the wide receivers or whatever the case might have been for that particular word, whatever they felt about the language that was bogging them down. Essentially, it sounds like Tim Kelly is trying to clean up a little bit. Now, how sustainable that is, of course, defenses will figure you out. Blaine, I don't have to tell it that too, but obviously defenses will key on certain things if you simplify it too much. A.J. Brown being able to give the Eagles every check, every kill, every note from the Titans offense this year as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, because Todd Downing apparently just didn't change anything year over year. Those things are going to happen from time to time. So, it's a solution that I think makes sense for this year. And if it's a means of making them more efficient as a unit, then I do understand what they're trying to say there by playing faster, getting to the line of scrimmage faster, executing the play call faster, not having silly delay of game penalties the way that we've seen them. I feel like have a couple of times in weird spots the last couple of years. Maybe I'm just highlighting one or two instances specifically in my mind, but I felt like those were more reoccurring issues in the last 2 seasons than they were in the past under a previous offensive coordinator. But certainly they're trying to maximize the efficiency of the offense, if not actually add the kind of speed that we thought they were talking about.
Hanging out with our man Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show, at Buck Reising on Twitter. Everything is Buck Reising.
Well, Buck, we haven't talked about Levis. I guess tell us a little bit about what he looks like out there. I know it's all in shorts, and everybody's a short champion. out there.
You should have
everybody
seen
goes
me in shorts, man.
Yeah,
All of a
yeah.
sudden,
But, you know,
yeah.
I was never the short champion, but I was the pad champion. Yeah, some of those guys disappear, man. It's kind of amazing. It really is. I mean, I used to be saying like, oh, man, I can't wait. It's like a whole nother level. But, you know, some guys just kind of go into darkness.
Well, I imagine you find out who those guys are very, very quickly in a sport like professional football playing. But you know, on Levis, he's mostly, at least the one OTA that we were out there, again, 3 OTAs and only one available to the media. But in the one that we were out there for, he was mostly relegated to standing behind Tannehill and the first team offense while they went through play calls, while they went through certain situational drills. And then the bulk of his reps came with other rookies, at the end of the respective period. So Malik with the 2s, Tannehill with the 1s, and Levis watching on from behind. There were some moments that I didn't see, but I saw my colleagues talk about afterwards that I just based on my vantage point. Apparently, he had some accuracy struggles in the rookie team drills. I saw a couple of Malik's accuracy issues in the team drills, specifically when I was able to get out to practice. But Levis, you know, he'll continue to work his way through. I'd probably think of him relegated to the third team quarterback until we get to training camp, and these things can be metered out in a more effective and fair way. But for now, he's just kind of taking in all the sights and sounds, all the cadences, all the different operational and tendency things that they're trying to get him to pick up on right now as they try and work their way through how much these guys can retain as rookies.
And we got to ask you about the receiving crew, let alone, you know, the drafted one and the undrafted guys. Anybody kind of, standing out like, oh, this guy probably should have been a drafted guy, or maybe not. I don't know. You tell me. Burks, what does he look like? He's in shape. He's ripped now, right? That's what they're saying.
Who's that?
Nah, Burks.
Oh, well, listen, he's moving a lot better. Listen, anything better than last offseason.
It was only going to go up, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if he's getting up to the podium and saying, yeah, I can run a lot faster now because I can actually breathe, that's a tremendous improvement.
It's hard to run and not breathe.
Well, yeah, clearly, because he wasn't able to do it last year. Now he looks like I can confirm with my own eyes that I have seen Traylon Burks run. I have seen him run fast. I have seen him. Now, I will say that they still do kind of pick and choose what he does in individual drills, which I don't know if I don't want to make anything out of that unnecessarily, because again, it's 1 day out of 3 that we're out there for. But that is something that I did notice. Out there. Undrafted guys, Keiris Jackson and Jacob Copeland are going to be the 2 names that I think people mostly gravitate towards as guys who might have the potential to make this roster. And, what are they in comparison to a 7th-round draft pick?
Right now. What do they look like?
Very much the focus of that. And, Dow, the size is what's notable about Dow. And I think that he's completely capable of making contested catches, but I think that dude is if what they want out of that dude is the future NWY, not necessarily the second coming of a better wide receiving core. I think they will have to continue to look elsewhere for that potential. But I thought the defensive backs looked great when we were out there. Not necessarily that doesn't necessarily get you excited about the wide receivers, but I did think it was a good day for the DBs on the whole. I thought there was a couple of nice plays from Malik. I thought there was some inaccuracies as well, particularly ball placement, where and I'm trying to give as much detail as I can without going over the restriction line. But I do think, given the ball placement of the target that he was throwing to, there was a couple of different moments where he made the receiver work a hell of a lot harder than they had to, or ultimately put a pass that was imminently catchable out of the reach of a target that should have been able to have that. So I think those are some of the things that you're going to keep an eye on, and people will start to see once fans can come out to training camp and we can talk about this stuff a little more openly. Yeah.
Well, lastly, who's out there playing with Hooker at safety, and how's Molden looking?
So it is Elijah Molden primarily at this point without Kevin Byard. And, I thought Molden looked like he's done this before, which he has at Washington. This is something that we knew in the draft analysis that he was capable of doing. We had seen it on tape, and with a crowded cornerback room at this point, with Sean Murphy Bunting and the giant question mark that is Caleb Farley, in addition to Roger McCreary and Christian Fulton, Molden is going to have to find a way to get on the field and wherever he can. And if Amani Hooker is going to be relegated back to his traditional safety role, as opposed to how often he was playing in the nickel and dime last year, as that third safety for them, I think that Molden is capable of doing that. They're not quite the same size, but they do have a similar skill set, and I think that Molden would make you feel a lot better about the safety depth that they previously did not have.
Mm-hmm. Well, last before we let you go, call your shot.
I'm calling my shot, but none of us are going to be on the air on Monday, and that we should all have a lovely Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
I was ready for an NBA shot that the Celtics are going to come all the way back or something.
Well, that is my shot.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No.
I don't care. What do I have to lose, Buck? Nothing.
only the just the joy that all of us outside of the city of Boston should take anytime a Boston sports team loses. We need them to lose. We don't need Boston to have four sports.
You're messing with their fans.
There you go. Our Friday segment with the man, our own Lucas Panzica, referred to as a mouthpiece. Buck Reising.
What's that?
Buck Reising. Good stuff, Bucko. Hey, enjoy your 3-day weekend. It starts now.
Appreciate it.
I'll deal with you later, Lucas. Goodbye, boys.
Yes, sir, Buck Reising. All right, Buck, he wouldn't call a shot, but you can call one with us. F&M Bank Chat, waiting for your shots there online at Blaine and Mickey on Twitter or on the phone, 615-737-1045, courtesy of the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We will call ours next. Would love to hear from you.
Shot. Scrimmage Lamar.
Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us today and every day that you hang out with us. We appreciate it. DeAndre Hopkins, the big news, cut loose by the Cardinals. Buck Reising was on with us, and his quote about DeAndre Hopkins when we asked him was, he said, oh, shoot, let me find it because I got to find it on the Blaine and Mickey Twitter. He made it sound like the Titans would kick the tires on DeAndre Hopkins. He said, I'd say they are going to explore it. Whether they actually pull the trigger on a deal depends on what the market looks like. It was Buck Reising who joined us. So, we'll consider that Buck's shot that they're going to kick the tires on DeAndre Hopkins. So we will call our shots. Now you can call your 615-737-1045, F&M Bank Chat, wherever you are enjoying that, or on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. Call your shot brought to you each week by Chattanooga Whiskey 91, an award-winning small batch bourbon, the only Tennessee high malt featuring tasting notes of toast and honey and graham cracker, a real winner, and available at your local retail store. Maybe you will enjoy some responsibly this weekend as you celebrate the holiday. Lucas Payne. Oh, we got to get a shot from the new guy in there. We got a new guy.
Oh, you got a shot?
Yeah,
Joseph's first shot.
Joseph's got to have a shot.
Should Joseph do the honors?
I'll go first.
Well, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go to the SEC baseball tournament, and I'm going to look at Alabama. Currently today, they will play Vanderbilt in the fourth round, so this is an elimination game. I'm saying they're going to upset 4-seed Vanderbilt. They're going to win tomorrow in the semifinals, and they will make an appearance in the championship game on Sunday.
Boy, college baseball shot that we got called there.
What did he call?
He called Bama getting to the championship game.
Bama was in complete turmoil in baseball just around the corner ago. Remember all that? And they lost their coach.
And they beat Vanderbilt in the series just days after Bohannon was fired.
Show did.
We will reconvene here on Tuesday when the NBA Finals are set in stone. I think the NBA Finals are going to be the Denver Nuggets against the Miami Heat. I think the Boston Celtics win tomorrow. They force a Game 7 at TD Garden on Monday night. And then the Boston Celtics, after coming all the way back from down 3-0 and trying to be the first team in NBA history to erase that deficit, lose in the most heartbreaking of fashions to the Miami Heat in Game 7.
Goodness gracious. They haven't won 4 straight games, the Celtics, since early February. I looked earlier today.
Oh, really?
They haven't won 4 straight. It's been about 2 months since they've won 4 games in a row, talking about the Celtics.
Yeah, that was my shot, though. I think they're going to do it. I predicted Celtics in Denver, so I just want to be right. That too. I predicted it. Yeah. So 4 in a row is a tough task, especially tonight. If they win the next time they play in Miami, they're going to win it.
If the Celtics win tomorrow,
they win in Miami.
So you think they won't go down in the most gut-wrenching fashion, as Lucas suggested? If they get this thing to 3-3 and lose at home.
They will be living in Boston.
I just don't want, because the Red Sox are the only MLB team to do it, right? To erase that 3-0 deficit. Yeah. They did it in 04 against the Yankees. Went on to win the World
Roberts
Series.
Teams.
Dave Roberts, the blood in the shoe, in the sock, and all that.
Gosh,
all
the
those
bloody
things.
sock.
I don't want Boston to have that. I don't want them to have that for basketball as well.
Remember the quote from the Boston fan at one point? He's like, "Gosh, it's been a year since we've even had a parade around here." Between everybody up there and all the winning they've been doing. Yeah, parade in Miami would be nice.
Well. I got another shot too, man.
Let's hear shot number 2.
Yeah.
Shot.
Yeah, I got a shot, real quick shot, and that is the Titans will sign a receiver.
No,
I'm pulling the buck, but it probably won't be DeAndre Hopkins. They gonna sign some undrafted free agent. I'm saying, see, I told you they're gonna sign a wide receiver.
Could have signed Anthony Ferguson, but he got signed by the Patriots.
Well, that's
yesterday.
a receiving tight end.
Yes, they could have brought back a familiar face, but he was
getting closer to the home.
The dude had 9 catches last year for 100 yards.
Dang, I think I could have done that.
He was like 3rd on the Titans one year in receptions.
Yeah.
I think he was 3rd on the Titans when they were the 12 wins and lost to the Bengals.
And then
somebody could check that.
Then they let
4th.
Jonnu go, and they said, "Oh, he can be replaced, Jonnu."
Boy, remember when that happened?
And I said,
"No, sirree.
No.
Nope.
Whoever said that got confused when they looked at the stats because the stats looked the same, and it's not the same player. See, that's what happens when you look at the stats. Look with your eyeballs.
Yeah, you made a prediction from the start.
I'm like, Ferguson is not that dude.
He is who he is, but he ain't that.
Right.
He is who he is.
See, the same things happen with NWI.
Yep.
They think, oh, he's a great number 2, but he's a number 2. No. Put him at what his role is, the 3, and he will shine. That's what Ferguson were. He need to be opposite of a tight end that's in the ground and that does all the dirty work and can move the chain. He's that guy. You can't make him the number 1. They get confused all the time. Happens to scouting departments all the time and GMs.
Here's my
dudes know dudes.
Dudes know dudes.
And he not that dude.
Here's my shot on the way out. Denny Hamlin.
That dude.
Denny Hamlin will be that dude. He will win the Coca-Cola 600 for the second year in a row. It will be the 50th win of his Cup career. Denny Hamlin, book it. And we got to book it.
Yeah, because, dude, we got to go.
Yep. Happy Memorial Day.
Be safe.
Be safe.
In the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.